Hypergamy's a bitch, man. You know, women want kids. That's kind of what makes them tick, you know, most of them. Nowadays, you kind of got these hybrid women. I don't know what you want to call them. They almost act like men more than women. These women out here trying to get theirs, players playing the game, you know. These, I almost want to call them metrosexual women, but these young girls, until they hit a certain age, and then all of a sudden, everything changes. I want a baby. Some women don't want babies. It's kind of a strange thing, but they're rare. Women want babies, man. And this is also part of why the hypergamy kicks in, you know? Because they want children. And that drive, if you want to call it that, that biological drive, I believe, is stronger than any rationale, if there ever was such a thing for a woman, any kind of rationale for love. I think that's the push. And personally, at least from me, in my experience, I can't speak for every guy, but I sacrificed a lot in my pursuit of love. You know, I didn't just, I want this woman with the nice big tits and the thin waist and the great face. And I mean, I sacrificed a lot as far as my standards goes. Now, some could argue that, you know, what are my choices? Maybe I'm not that good looking or whatever. But the funny thing is if you look at the biological drives, and maybe I don't have a lot to offer as far as money and status goes, but if you look at the biological drives, you know, you have men wanting an attractive woman with, you know, childbearing hips, nice ass. This is why guys are like, I like the nice ass. You never hear women say, guy has a nice ass. I mean, occasionally, but really, not really. It's does the guy have nice abs? Usually, if we're talking about physical. But beyond that, the woman is like, what does he do for work? He's got so much money. He's this and he's that. And this is, to them, it's like, wow, look at her ass. They're like, wow, look at his bank account. This is DNA. Do women have the rationale to say, I just want love? Do women have that rationale? I just want love. No. I remember, I have a religious past, and I prayed, which is part of why I got disenfranchised with the church and got disenfranchised with God himself. And I prayed for a wife. Prayed for love. I said, I just want love. Just give me love. I didn't ask for a beautiful woman with, and I had chased that before in my past. But all in all, looking at the girls that I had hoped would fall in love with me, they were not at all specimens of physical beauty. Now, if I'm really talking about what I want in a woman physically, I love a great pair of big tits, I love a thin waist, and I love a thick bottom. Okay? And I would prefer that she would be, you know, eating well and lifting weights, hitting the gym. I prefer it. Right? To help round out that thick ass, to help but I wanted love. And what did I get? I got a whole bunch of rejects that the cat drug in. And by the time that I had come around to loving them, they had already left me. By the time I had realized I loved them, they were already gone. Why is that? Because when they came to me, they were sluts and whores, and because this is what all these girls are out here doing, even the nice girls. And unless you're making a certain amount of money, you're not going to be attracting the girls who quote unquote are looking for love. And before I learned how to socialize in real life, in person, I was on the dating sites. And what does the dating sites have to offer? Whole bunch of used goods, whole bunch of lowered expectations, whole bunch of single moms, single sluts who are riding the cock carousel into battle, riding the cock carousel into glory, into their glory days when I'm done with hooking up. No more hookups. Now that I'm 30 and I have a son, I'm looking out for my son. I'm looking out for my daughter. No more hookups. I need a man who's got his stuff together. I need a real man. That hypergamy kicks in, right? How many it used to be at some point that there actually were women out there on the dating sites who really genuinely were looking for love. Okay. Now, a lot of them say they are, no hookups, right? A lot of them say they're looking for love, but they're really looking for other stuff. Or they're looking for whatever comes their way. Whatever they, they'll hook up to. So, obviously, there's a lot of lies going on, etc., right? Just what it is. Hypergamy kicks in at some point, and then they're done chasing Chad. They're done chasing the Chad Johnson. They're done chasing that wiener. Then it's like, oh boy, 25, I'm hitting the wall. Some hit the wall sooner than others. Some hit it at 25. Some, I've dated a few. One in particular I'm thinking of now who, for some reason, now she came from money. I don't know if that has a correlation. But she never really did hit the old wall as far as like, oh, okay, now I got to have a kid. Of course, she had a somewhat of an iffy past, and I think she was molested at a young age. That might have something to do with it. That might turn some girls off to having kids. But she came from money as well, and it seems to me like women who come from poverty, they, believe it or not, they seek a man with money more often than a woman who comes from money. Because if a woman comes from money, she doesn't have that drive as strong. All women have it in their DNA, believe me, because at some point she said, how are you going to take care of me? At some point she did. And all of my major girlfriends over the last 10 years at some point mentioned some kind of comment about my career, my lack of a career, my lack of a good income, my lack of a good social status. At some point they all did. Which is how I know what women want. And many of them mention it on their dating sites, right there in plain sight. Must have a good career, must be over 6 foot, must have something going for him. Right? Some of them aren't even sneaky about it. You better be a real man. You better have your stuff together. Right? This is what women want, man. And it's turned me off to the whole thing. Now I got a choice at my age. I could go out and try to find love again, or I could try to pump and dump, or I could just walk away completely. I got choices. I don't think I'll ever find real love based on how I know women to be based on my experiences with them. Is there a unicorn out there? This is the big question in the MGTOW communities. Does a unicorn exist? She's just different than all the other girls? And I've even heard red pill so-called instructors, some of the biggest YouTube channels, some of these guys, I'm not going to name names, talk about how if you're going to date, date a woman who has a career. Does that mean she's not hypergamous? Does that mean if you didn't have a good career that she would make up for your lack? Oh, don't worry about it, honey. I got money. Of course not. Of course not. She's got a good career. She expects the man to have a good career as well. So now you might lessen some risks there. She might be less inclined to take you to court for alimony at some point in the next 5 or 10 years when a divorce happens, if you're stupid enough to get married. But nowadays, you don't even have to get married in order to, in some states, for the woman to get your money. All you have to be is cohabiting. And a lot of laws apply nowadays, particularly even with domestic violence laws, which is fucked up to holy hell. Even with domestic violence laws, you don't even ever have to live with the woman. If you've dated her for longer than 6 months, I don't even know if it's 6 months. If you have been in an intimate relationship with a woman, then you are liable for some things as far as legislation is concerned. But as far as alimony, okay, I think you have to be living with them. And some guys, I've seen it happen, don't put the woman on the lease. How's she going to prove that he was living with her? Although I don't know if that's a fail-safe. I really don't know if that's 100% a safeguard. Some of these guys are getting tricky. They're not getting married, and they're not putting her on the lease, hoping that she won't say some bullshit and try to take their money. But don't think that just because she has a career, and it's tempting to say, oh yeah, I'll just find a woman who has a career. Well, maybe she's less inclined to take your money, but that doesn't mean she won't take it. Maybe a court won't give it to her. That doesn't mean that she's still not hypergamous. Doesn't mean that she's still not shallow and I need a man with money even though I've got money. I expect somebody to meet my lifestyle. This is what some of these Pua teachers teach. Have a woman who meets you at your lifestyle. That's kind of, that's a little, I don't know about that one, man. Because you claim to be red pill, which stands for the absolute truth, right? You claim to be red pill, but you're still maneuvering so you could get a woman. You're still playing their game to some extent. Granted, it's not the classic hypergamy scenario where the man pays for all her stuff, etc., but that's still somewhat, because she ain't looking for no broke man. When you say, you need to be about your purpose and go, like Rollo Tomasi, you need to be about your purpose and you need to go and stay on your purpose and get your career going and all these things. Hey man, I'm all for you making money. But don't think that, just because you took time to not focus on chasing women and now that you're making money that all of a sudden your woman problems are going to be taken away, or that you can find a woman with a career, you're not going to have any problems. Women are women, man. In fact, I think some of these career women, why would you want that? Because she's going to have less time to give to you. She's going to have less affection, and she's going to be more manly. So you can't win for losing. It's all a lose scenario. If she's a career woman, she's probably going to have more testosterone. She's not going to be as feminine as you want her to be. Okay? And she might want to run the show. I had a friend who had a girl who was a career woman, made more money than him, a lot more money than him. And it bugged him. It bothered him, and they ended up breaking up. because she would run the show sometimes. He said, I like it when a woman is traditional. I like it when a woman, plays off of my leadership, plays off of my masculine vibe. He is a traditional minded guy, but he didn't make that much money, you see. So this is the catch-22 there. If you're a traditional guy and you don't make that much money, you're shit out of luck. I had a guy I was living with a long time ago when I was a young man, who I do have respect for, but in hindsight, hindsight's 20/20, and as you get older, you learn things that you didn't know when you were younger. And this man told me that, I told him I was interested in, I wanted to get married since the time I was 19. I wanted love. I wanted love in my early teens, actually, 14, 15. I wanted love. And this is why it was so hard on me to actually peel back my blue pill narrative and take the red pill. Is why it was so much suffering and it was so tough to do, was because I really was an emotional guy. I wanted love and I never got it, and I wondered why, and all this and all this and all this. That's why it was so hard on me to lose my blue pill narrative that women are just women are the fairer sex and they want to love a man just like a man wants to love them, and all this BS, right? Took me years to get through that hurt of women being hypergamous, get through that hurt of women chasing the bad boys and chasing the guys with the higher status, and they don't want to just love you. They don't. They want a great situation. They want that great man. They want the best for them. They want the best thing they can get for their viable exchange of bartering, whatever they have to exchange for. And this man, I was talking to this man about wanting love. And he didn't say a lot to me about it. Maybe there's not a lot to say. Maybe he didn't have much understanding on it. But this is all he said. Women are expensive. It's the only thing he said. Women are expensive. I'm not going to say he's the wisest man on earth, but I held a lot of respect for him. And he had a wife and he had a kid, and it was very extremely traditional. He had 2 kids. He ended up having